What would our world be like without Elon Musk? In truth, it would actually be an altered dystopian reality. I'm not being hyperbolic or exaggerated. The acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk has had a significant impact on the social media landscape. All of a sudden, a wide range of diverse opinions are allowed, so no wonder certain groups representing the puppet master class are so angry. Currently, there is an ongoing conflict among advertisers aiming to tarnish Elon Musk's reputation in an attempt to restrict his influence. Despite their efforts to exert control, Elon Musk has delivered a strongly divisive and explicit, very specific message to all of his financial deep state detractors and bad actors within the financial sector, expressing a sentiment to GFY. Go, expletive, F yourself. And this is a direct quote from him.
A lot of folks called me up and said, you really going to host Elon Musk here? Can you believe what he just said on Twitter? On X. On X.
Yeah. So no idea what this Twitter thing is you keep talking about.
Should you platform him? That's what they said.
Yeah.
Should you platform him? And I said that I think that it's our role, and I know you have issues with journalists.
I have a platform.
I know you have an issue with journalists oftentimes, but I said it's our role to have conversations and to inquire and and sometimes even interrogate ideas. You write in responding to another tweet.
Yes.
This is the actual truth. And it set off a firestorm of criticism all the way to the White House.
Right.
And then you make this trip to Israel. You have advertisers who've left the platform. People calling.
Well, the trip to Israel is independent of it wasn't some apology tour. I want to be clear. That was.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So just take us back to the moment at which you write that.
Trip to Israel is independent of. It wasn't in response to that at all.
Well, we'll do Israel in just a moment.
And I have no problem being hated, by the way.
I hear
Hate
you.
away.
Well, but you know what? There's a difference between saying I don't care if anyone likes me or they hate me.
Yeah.
But given your power and given what you have amassed and the importance you have, I would think you want to be trusted. I would think maybe you don't need to be liked or hated, but trusted matters. If X is going to become a financial platform where people are going to put their money, where the government's going to give you money for rockets, where people are going to get into the cars, they need to ultimately decide that you are. Maybe they don't have to decide that they love you, but that you are ultimately a decent and good human being.
Yes, I mean, I think I am, but I'm certainly not going to do some sort of tap dance to prove to people that I am. So as for trust, I mean, I think we break that down in a few ways. If you want satellites sent to orbit reliably, SpaceX will do 80% of all mass to orbit this year. China will do 12%. The rest of the world will do 8%. That includes Boeing, Lockheed, and everyone else. So the track record of the rocket is the best by far of anything. You could hate my guts next. You could not trust me. It is irrelevant. The rocket track record speaks for itself. With respect to Tesla, we make the best cars. Whether you hate me, like me, or indifferent, do you want the best car or do you not want the best car? So I will certainly not pander. And Jonathan, the only reason I'm here is because you are a friend. What was my speaking fee?
You're not making any. First of all, I'm Andrew, but
yeah, sorry,
it's okay.
What I'm trying to illustrate is that sometimes I say the wrong thing. Where am I?
Doesn't return phone calls.
Yeah. The point is, I'm here because you're a friend, not because I'm being paid or because I need any validation or anything. It's that we've been friends for 16 years, and I promised you I'd be here, and that's why I'm here.
Well, I appreciate you being here.
Not for any other reason.
But let me ask you this then. Let's just go at it. Just tell me what happened. You write this tweet that says that this is the actual truth. People read that tweet.
Yes.
And they say, Elon Musk is an anti-Semite, that he is riling up this base. You're hearing it from As I said, the White House. You're hearing it from Jewish groups all over. I think Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL is here. There's lots of people who say this. And by the way, it's not just that.
Did you read the whole thing?
I did, and that's why I want to ask you
And the
about
responses?
Excuse me?
I said more.
More responses?
Yeah, I said more. I said more than what you just read.
Yes. No, there was absolutely more.
Yes. Well, first of all, I did clarify almost immediately what I meant. I would say that was, if I could go back and say I should, in retrospect, not have replied to that particular person, and I should have written in greater length as to what I meant. I did subsequently clarify it in replies, but those clarifications were ignored by the media, and essentially I handed a loaded gun to those who hate me. So I did, post on my primary timeline to be absolutely clear that I'm not anti-Semitic, and that I, in fact, if anything, am philo-Semitic. And the trip to Israel was planned before any of that happened. It was neither here nor there. Do you see this thing? Mm-hmm. Do you know what it is?
I do, because I actually followed your entire trip to Israel.
Great.
Why don't you tell everybody?
This says bring them home. The hostages. It was given to me by the parents of one of the hostages. And I said I would wear it as long as there was a hostage still remaining. And I have.
But there's a public perception that that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
But
go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
How do you think then about the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view, what do you do?
F-Y.
I understand that, but there's a reality too, right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, totally. No. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company.
And do you think that the company...
And the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say, we didn't kill the company.
Oh, yeah?
They're going to say...
Tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things and that they were inappropriate things and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
So this goes back to...
We'll both make our cases.
Right.
And we'll see what the outcome is.
What are the economics of that for you? I mean, you have enormous resources, so you can actually keep this company going for a very long time. Would you keep it going for a long time if there was no advertising?
I mean, if the company fails because of an advertiser boycott, it will fail because of an advertiser boycott. And that will be what bankrupted the company, and that's what everybody on Earth will know.
But what do you think then of the... this goes back to the idea of trust, though.
Then it'll be gone. And it'll be gone because of an advertiser boycott.
But you recognize that some of those people are going to say that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform. And I just wonder and ask you and think about that for a second.
Tell it to the judge.
But the judge is going to be...
the judge is the public.
And you think that the public is going to say that Disney is making a mistake?
Yes.
And they're going to boycott Disney?
They already are.
Well, there are some that are for lots of different reasons. But you think that this is going to that you have this goes to actually the interesting of power and leverage.
Let the chips fall where they may. Let the chips fall where they may.
Can I ask why that is the approach? And I ask it because you've been
What's the other approach? Well,
you've been very particular about the approach to Tesla. When you think about the engineering involved in that, the approach to SpaceX, the approach to some of the stuff you're doing with AI has been very specific, right? There's not a let the chips fall where they may approach to those businesses, I don't think.
No, we focus on making the best products. And Tesla's gotten to where it's gotten with no advertising at all.
I understand that.
Tesla currently sells twice as much in terms of electric vehicles as the rest of electric car makers in the United States combined. Tesla has done more to help the environment than all other companies combined. It would be fair to say that, therefore, as a leader of the company, I've done more for the environment than everyone else, any single human on Earth.
How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about that?
Yeah, no, I'm asking you personally how you feel about that, because we're talking about power and influence
I'm saying what I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay? Of all the posts I've done on the platform, I think there might be 30,000 or something like that.
Right.
Once in a while, I will say something foolish. And I have. And I would certainly put that comment, that you said the actual truth, among perhaps one of the most foolish, if not the most foolish thing I've ever done on the platform. And I did do my best to clarify afterwards that, I certainly do not mean anything anti-Semitic in that. The nature of the criticism was simply that the Jewish people have been persecuted for thousands of years. There is a natural affinity, therefore, for persecuted groups. This has led to the funding of organizations that essentially promote any persecuted group or any group with the perception of persecution. This includes radical Islamic groups. Everyone here has seen the massive demonstrations for Hamas in every major city in the West. That should be jarring. Well, a number of those organizations received funding from prominent people in the Jewish community. Right. They didn't expect that to happen. But if you generically, right, without condition, sort of fund, if you fund persecuted groups, in general, some of those persecuted groups, unfortunately, want your annihilation. And what I meant by that, when I subsequently clarified, is that it's unwise to fund organizations that support groups that want your annihilation. Is this coming across clearly?
Yeah, no, it is. My question to you, though,
I think logically this makes a lot of sense.
Is there any part of you, just tell me what happens, though, once all this happens?
Let's say you fund a group, and that group supports Hamas, who wants you to die. Perhaps you should not fund them.
Right. But you do.
Thank you. But I should make a point here. So, nothing any of my companies have done has been to stifle competition. In fact, we've done the opposite. So at Tesla, we have open sourced our patents. Anyone can use our patents for free. How many companies do you know who've done that? Can you name one? I can't. At SpaceX, we don't use patents. So, once in a while we'll file a patent just so some patent troll doesn't cause trouble. But we're not stopping any. We've done nothing anti-competitive. We've done nothing to stop our competitors.
I'm not suggesting you are at all.
No, I just want to clarify for the audience, because some companies have done anti-competitive things. I think the strange thing, or the unusual thing about SpaceX and Tesla is that we've done things that have helped our competition. So at Tesla, we have made our supercharger system open access. We've made our charger technology available for free to the other manufacturers.
The reason
No walled garden. We could have put a wall up, but instead we invited them in. The reason for starting OpenAI was to create a counterweight to Google and DeepMind, which at the time had 2/3 of all AI talent and basically infinite money and compute, and there was no counterweight. It was unipolar world. And Larry and Paige and I used to be very close friends, and I would stay at his house, and I would talk to Larry into the late hours of the night about AI safety. And it became apparent to me that Larry did not care about AI safety. I think perhaps the thing that gave it away was when he called me a speciesist for being pro-humanity. As in, like a racist, right, but for species. So I'm like, wait a second, what side are you on, Larry? And then I'm like, okay, listen, this guy's calling me a speciesist. He doesn't care about AI safety. We've got to have some counterpoint here because this seems like we could be, this is no good. So OpenAI was actually started, and it was meant to be open source. I named it OpenAI after open source. It is in fact closed source, super closed. It should be renamed super closed source for maximum profit AI. So because this is what it actually is.
So as you saw Sam Altman get ousted,
yeah,
by somebody you know, Ilya, and Ilya was a friend of yours.
Yes.
You brought him there. Your relationship with Larry Page effectively broke down over you recruiting him away, I think.
That's correct. That was the fight. Larry refused to be friends with me after I recruited Ilya.
And so here's Ilya apparently saying something is very wrong.
I think we should be concerned about this because I think Ilya actually has a strong moral compass. He thinks about, he really sweats it over questions of what is right. And if Ilya felt strongly enough to want to, fire Sam, well, I think the world should know what was that reason.
Have you talked to him?
I've reached out, but he doesn't want to talk to anyone.
Have you talked to other people behind the scenes as this is all happening?
I've talked to a lot of people. I've not found anyone who knows why. I mean, look, one of two things is either it was a serious thing and we should know what it is, or it was not a serious thing and then the board should resign. I don't know. I want to know why Ilya felt so strongly as to fire Sam. This sounds like a serious thing. I don't think it was trivial. And I'm quite concerned that there's some, dangerous element of AI that they've
discovered.
Created. Yes.
You think they've discovered something?
That would be my guess. I've thought AI could be something that would change the world in a significant way since I was in college. I mean, like 30 years ago. But the reason I didn't go build AI right from the get-go was because I was uncertain about which edge of the double-edged sword would be sharper, the good edge or the bad edge. But with AI, you've got the magic genie problem. You may think you want a magic genie, but once that genie's out of the bottle, it's hard to say what happens.
Let me ask you a political question. And I've been trying to square this one in my head for a long time.
Yeah.
In the last 2 or 3 years, you have moved decidedly to the right, I think.
Have I?
Well, we can discuss this. I think that you have been espousing and promoting a number of Republican candidates and others. You've been very frustrated with the Biden administration over, I think, unions and feeling like they did not respect what you've created.
I mean, without doing nothing to provoke the Biden administration, they held an electric vehicle summit at the White House and specifically refused to let Tesla attend. This was in the first 6 months of the administration. And we inquired, we literally make more electric cars than everyone else combined. Why are we not allowed? Why are you only letting Ford, GM, Chrysler, and UAW, and you're specifically disallowing us from the EV summit at the White House? We've done nothing to provoke them. Then Biden went on to add insult to injury and publicly said that GM was leading the electric car revolution. This was in the same quarter that Tesla made 300,000 electric cars and GM made 26. Does that seem fair to you?
So, but tell me this then. It doesn't seem fair. And I've asked repeatedly, you've probably seen me.
And by the way, I had a great relationship with Obama. So there's not a.
So, but then there's
I voted
this.
for Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand. Okay.
So let me just ask on a personal level. I can see it in your face. This hurt you personally.
And it hurt the company too. And it was an insult to, Tesla has 140,000 employees. Okay. Of the half of them are in the United States. Tesla has created more manufacturing jobs than everyone else combined.
How do you square the support that you have given? I believe you were at a fundraiser for Vivek Ramaswamy, for example, who says that the climate issue is a hoax, right?
Yeah, I disagree with him on that.
But I would think that would be such a singular issue for you. I would think that the climate issue would be such a singular issue for you that actually it would disqualify almost anybody who didn't take that issue seriously.
Well, I haven't endorsed anyone for president. I mean, I wanted to hear what Vivek had to say, because I think some of his things some of the things he says, I think, are pretty solid. He's concerned about government overreach, about government control of information. The degree to which old Twitter was basically a sock puppet of the government was ridiculous. It seems to me that there's a very severe violation of the First Amendment in terms of how much control the government had over old Twitter, and it no longer does. So there's a reason for the First Amendment. The reason for the First Amendment for freedom of speech is because the people that immigrated to this country came from places where there was not freedom of speech, and they were like, you know what, we got to make sure that that's constitutional. Because where they came from, if they said something, they'd be put in prison, or they'd be, something bad would happen to them. So, and freedom of speech, you have to say, when is it relevant? It's only relevant when someone you don't like can say something you don't like, or it has no meaning. And as soon as you sort of, throw in the towel and concede to censorship, it is only a matter of time before someone censors you. And that is why we have the First Amendment. And in terms of anti-Semitic content, TikTok is rife with that. It has the most viral anti-Semitic content by far.
But do you think the Chinese government is using it to manipulate the minds of Americans?
No.
Is that something that you think we should worry about? You have different states that are trying to ban it.
I don't think this is some Chinese government plot. But it is, the TikTok algorithm is entirely AI powered. So it is really just trying to find the most viral thing possible. It's what is going to keep you glued to the screen. Right. That's it. Now, on sheer numbers, there are on the order of 2 billion Muslims in the world. And I think, much smaller number of Jewish people. 20 million, something? Many orders of magnitude fewer. So if you just look at content production, just on sheer numbers basis, this is going to be overwhelmingly anti-Semitic.
Elon Musk is really amazing. This is someone who is all principle, strongly believes in substance over style, and is uncompromising in his views. This is a man who tells the truth and is known for his honesty, so it should come as no surprise that they hate him so much. These are shady interests and certain dubious entities that are consistently attempting to paint Elon Musk as divisive and perilous, portraying him as just another malevolent, wicked billionaire. However, Elon Musk is putting virtually everything he's built at risk to stand up for what he believes is right as he defends First Amendment rights. Confronted with such malevolence, the only valid reaction is outright rejection, resistance, or a firm refusal to conform. The only justified response is to say GFY, because we know where compliance will lead us. It will lead to immediate gains for companies, but it ultimately results in the deterioration of society and the erosion of our rights. While a company may profit in the short term, it comes at the expense of the average person's ability to engage effectively in public discourse and, naturally, within the democratic process itself. When faced with such a scenario, forget about the advertisers. It's time to establish a new standard, and Elon Musk has raised an intriguing point. How will the world respond? This is the question that consistently crosses my mind. Will individuals champion the cause of First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and open discussions on Twitter without succumbing to advertiser censorship? That's the question I ponder and ask myself. Corporate dominance, corporate oppression, crony capitalism, and campaigns enforcing advertiser censorship are essentially forms of tyranny, oppression, coercion, and the undermining of your rights. Ultimately, the crucial question is whether we will allow the corporate puppet masters to prevail. Will we permit them to undermine our democracies, overthrow our governments, and control major corporations? Will we grant them the authority to regulate our speech and control what we are allowed to say? That's the query. Will we permit our society to yield to malevolence? That is the core issue at hand. It's precisely what we are up against, and Elon Musk is actively opposing it. Well, Elon Musk is correct. The message is go F yourself.